Makasaysayang araw po sa ating lahat. Actually, makasaysayang gabi na pala. Makasaysayang gabi sa ating lahat. Ako po si Xiao Chu, isang public historian. Welcome to Kasaysayan Kaysaya. Ayan. Mga kaibigan, nasa Vibal Group po tayo. One of the largest textbook companies in the Philippines. Pinapanood po ng libu-libong mga guro. No? At syempre, may pass certificate si Mayor Vibal lagi. No? So thank you, Vibal Group, for giving me this opportunity to have the show. We are on our very first year this month. That's why it's very special, because this is our first anniversary month. And also, this is what we call Magsaysay month. Before we talk about that, by the way, they always say August is the buwan ng wika. We also say that August is the buwan ng kasaysayan. That's why we launched this show last year during the pandemic. Vibal is actually a revolutionized education now, because in many ways talagang nauso yung webinars, educational webinars, dahil nag-invest ang Vibal. They paid speakers to have webinars during the very beginning of the lockdowns. And talaga naman ako masaya doon, kasi ang daming nagkaroon ng opportunities, educators, mga professors na mga sikat, at mga tulad kong hindi naman masyadong magaling, pero pinagbibigyan lang, nagbibiro lang po ako. And of course, even the new teachers are given an opportunity to share their thoughts. That's why August is our anniversary. But also August is, they say it's a ghost month now. No? Yan ang sinasabi nila sa Chinese. No? Well, of course, I have a Chinese heritage. I do not necessarily believe it, kaso August na sunugan kami ng bahay 2 years ago. No? Not a laughing matter, but it happened. You know? But also, may COVID-19 situation tayo ngayon, and lumalala po yung mga yung ating mga cases. So please stay safe. Okay? I'm actually surrounded by COVID. Ano? Not a laughing matter again. Hindi ko alam kung bakit pinapatawa ko yung laugh track. But we Filipinos, sometimes, we just want to laugh sometimes, because it's getting stressful and all of that. But we have this night. Well, I'm not saying that this is a very light night, because we will be remembering things that are not necessarily light, but very important. And we will be remembering the legacy of one man, Ramon Magsaysay. But remember that a legacy cannot just stop at one man. But the legacy should continue to the people that he inspired. And of course, lalong-lalo na yung family. So because this is Magsaysay month, we will have this show. The episode will be about the legacy of the Magsaysay family. Of course, from Ramon Magsaysay, the former president, mahal na mahal ng masa, hanggang sa kasalukuyan. Okay? But before that, we would like to call our special co-host tonight. She's a member of the Sociedad de Historia de Universidad de la Salle Maynila. In Spanish, eh? This is the history majors, so the students organization of history majors in the DLSU Manila. I would like to call, she's also, by the way, AB Him. We call it AB Him, AB History, major in history, minor in political science. Nandito po kasama natin is that right? Kiana Tarayne Dizon. Hi, Kiana.
Yes, sir. Good evening po, sir. Makasaysayang gabi po.
Before we introduce our other guests, I would like to ask you, Kiana. Kiana, bakit ba nag-history major ka? What inspired you? Not so many people actually get history as their major.
Yes, sir.
But why? Why?
Okay, sir. So, to be quite frank, I don't think I would be able to give you an interesting answer. I chose history because I love history. I enjoyed discussing history when I was back in high school. I just love the degree. I see myself working in the field. But what I can answer is what pushed me to love history, who were the people who encouraged me to love history. So, sir, fun fact, I used to watch It's Showtime back when I was younger. And I
No
was,
way.
yes, sir, I was
You're making
always
me feel
amazed.
old.
But jokes aside, sir, yun po. I was always amazed and I was always waiting every night po ba yun? Or
Yeah,
every day.
may night yon, may morning din noon. Ay, may,
Yes po.
tanghali at gabi dati.
Yes, for the stories that you are going to share. And it was such a treat for me as a little kid to know about things na normally alam lang ng mga big people, ng mga old people. It was such a delight for me, sir, to know about history in that sense. So yun po, that's
Thank
one of
you.
the reasons.
Grabe. You know, I almost felt insulted that you said when you were a little kid, no? And I was counting, and Showtime was in 2012. It started in 2012. And that's already 9 years ago. And minus 9, you are a very little kid that time. Ano?
Yes, sir, I was.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kiana. No? Salamat. Ikaw pa, ako pa talaga. Hiya tuloy ako. Anyway, thank you, Kiana, so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
I mean, I'm glad that you agreed to do this co-hosting, and you will be asking also questions to our guests. No? Ngayon,
Yes,
what
sir.
we're going to... Ngayon, ah, okay. Now what we're going to do is I'm going first to tell a story, a small story. No? When I was a young girl. Sorry. So sabi ko sana young girl like you when I was a young boy. Just like you when I was young. I'll show you something. This was me when I was in high school. Yeah. Okay. All right. There. So this was me when I was in high school. Yan. Yan po ako noon. Oo. Isa po akong probinsyano, taga Tarlac. At ano yun, 1998. That was the Philippine Centennial. Nagsusulat ako sa mga notebooks. You know, I used to dream I'm writing a book. And I write them in notebooks. Philippine history, sino yung mga naging presidente natin, anong nangyari nung Philippine Revolution. And I was writing about people like Cory Aquino. I was writing about Erap Estrada, who was president at the time. I was writing about so many of the personalities in history. Oh. And then I saw a little ad in Philippine Star. There's an essay writing contest na pwedeng salihan ng isang bata. No? There's a college and there's a high school division. No? And that's what we call the first Ramon Magsaysay essay writing contest. And I submitted. Kasi nakalagay doon, those that are that would win would be awarded. Would be invited to the Ramon Magsaysay Award presentation ceremonies. To be invited. So, when they said they will announce the winner on this date at Museo Pambata. Tayo sa probinsyano. So, hindi ako nakarating. And then, na-realize ko na lang na I read the newspaper and there was the awarding of the essay writing contest with the son of the former president awarding the prize to these people. No? So, sabi ko, naku, may nanalo na pala. And then I read the article and there was me. No? I won third place. Third lang. And I received 10,000 pesos. And there's a cable TV, a channel, and then they announced that I won. And I'm being summoned to the office. And they said that the presentation ceremonies at the Ramon Magsaysay would be on the 30th of August. And I was there at the office of the one who organized the contest, who is the grandson of Ramon Magsaysay. The guy's name is Paco Magsaysay. So, nakakatuwa yan kasi I thought, nagano pa ako noon eh. Nagbarong pa ako noon. Oo, nagbarong ako. Tapos I thought na ano, 'di ba? Pumunta muna ako doon sa office. Gusto ko sabihin nakakatuwa tong kwentong ito eh. I went to the office in Makati. They gave me the money. Paco Magsaysay was not there anymore because he left for the presentation ceremonies. And we were, oras na yun. It was about 3 p.m. And 4 o'clock nag-i-start yan. Actually, 4:30 na kaming dumating sa CCP. And akala ko, papaakyatin ako sa stage dahil third place ako. Yun pala, yung Ramon Magsaysay Awards pala, iba pala yun. Yun pala ay isang prestigious prize, the Nobel Peace Prize of Asia. Wherein the awardee was Corazon Aquino. I'll just show you pictures a bit. This is me. Ang hindi ko makalimutan nun was when I went out the reception in the lobby. Because there, I saw President Ramos. At tignan nyo, probinsyano. Ang barong, ang nasa loob ay yung yung sando. Yung sa probinsyano. Ganyan. Yung tatay ko kinasal nakasando na nakabarong. Kaya pala pinagtitinginan ako ng mga tao noon. Remember, I was clueless. And people were looking at me, weird guy, nakasando. But it did not dawn onto me. Talagang I was so happy. I was confident. I was loving every minute of it. Because there was Fidel Ramos. I was just writing about him. There was Joseph Estrada. There was, and of course, the awardees. Cory Aquino. Yan. Oh, wait. Cory Aquino was there.
Kiana should join one of the presentations in the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Talagang inaano natin, So, eto po, Look. Yan. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. Sorry po. Technical problems, Yeah, wait lang. There it is. Okay, here it is. Cory Aquino and family. Pati si Chris Aquino, di ba? Idol ng lahat. Noynoy Aquino. Di ba? At that time, was awarded in 1998, And then, I saw this man. Ito sila yung awardees. I know, this is the 1999. Next year. Yeah. This guy! And I'm going to introduce him to you. And we're going to learn more about him. We always see each other at the awardees because after that, I vowed to myself that I'm going to attend every presentation ceremonies of the Ramon Magsaysay Award when I can. And I only missed one from 1998 to the last one before the pandemic, year 2019. And yung inspiration nung that experience, Kiana, and sa mga listeners natin, that is the reason why I became a historian. Because for the very first time, on the 31st of August, 1998, that was the birthday of Ramon Magsaysay. The presentation ceremonies of the Ramon Magsaysay Award, I touched history. And Kiana, after that, I felt that I want to touch history as my career. Kumbaga. And I am with the people who are behind that, the reason why I became a historian. One of the very reasons why I became a historian. I would like to call, unahin ko na, the senior one, of course, former senator and the son of the late President Ramon Magsaysay. Senator Honorable Ramon Magsaysay Jr. Senator Jun Mag, magandang gabi po. Okay, yeah. Senator Jun. There.
Yes.
Senator Jun.
Yeah. Oo, okay na.
Gabi po. Pakasaysayan gabi po.
Nakamute pala kanina kaya hindi ako naririnig.
It's very good to see you.
I'm looking at your background. It's a big building.
This is just This is a Zoom background, no?
Oh, parang nasa kwan ka nasa University of the Philippines.
Correct. Yes, Palma Hall.
Oo.
Pero ano yan, parang anime. Oo.
Palang virtual.
Virtual, yes. Ang galing na ng
Okay.
Zoom eh. Yeah, we will talk about technology later. Ano? Because
Sige.
you have a lot to do
Alright.
with that.
Okay,
Kiana.
I'm
Yes.
glad that we are here with you, Xiao, with Miss Kiana Dizon, and of course my son Paco, because in the totem pole, of course the younger Magsaysay will have to bear the load.
Yeah.
So right now he's bearing a lot of load on our ventures. But I'm open to any help that I can give to you, Xiao, and to Kiana on the story of Ramon Magsaysay, the late president of the
Salamat po.
Philippines.
Salamat po. Yes, we'll talk about his father, Ramon Imagine, no? Ama niya. Oh, kinakamayan ko yung si Senator Junmag, parang nakamayan ko na rin yung kanyang ama. Diba? Dahil ang ama mo ang alaga sa inyo at nagpalaki sa inyo and brought you up to become who you are in many ways. And ito na po, the younger Magsaysay is actually known for one of the best, if not the best, ice creams in the world. Grabe.
Thanks, Xiao.
Yes. Carmen's best. Carmen's best. And he is the son of Senator Jun Magsaysay and also the grandson of the late President Ramon Magsaysay. And the one who organized the first Ramon Magsaysay essay writing contest, which I won very, very minor prize, third place. Pero for me, the effect was like at least as if I won gold. None other than Mr. Paco Magsaysay. Sir Paco, makasaysayang gabi.
Good evening, Xiao. Maraming salamat sa pag-imbita sa akin. Hi, Kiana, and hi to my dad.
Hello po. Good
Yes.
evening po.
Mamaya, I'm going to ask you questions. Baka mamaya, so maghintay lang kayong konti. But
Sure.
don't worry, we will get there. Pero I will ask first, kasi we are talking about Ramon Magsaysay, former president of the Philippines. This will not be an exhaustive lesson about him because, you know, I have my Showtime videos there. You can watch documentaries about his life that were produced by the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation. He was, of course, people are always saying that he was a mechanico and saying he was poor. No? He was not that poor, okay? He was in many ways, no, sabi nga nila, they had land in Zambales, but even the farmers felt that they were at home with Magsaysay, with Ramon. Monching, they call him Monching. And Monching, of course, became a guerrilla leader. And he also was, before the war, if I'm not mistaken, yun nga, nagmekaniko sa Triton. And then the war happened, he became a guerrilla leader. And after that, parang nawalan na ng private life si Kuya. Kasi eventually, if I'm not mistaken, military governor of Zambales. And then after that, he was, at saka ano siya, ang kanyang nickname ay Chow. Kasi pinapakain niya yung mga guerrillas. And then, he became a congressman. And then, he became president. So, he did a lot of things. But one major incident in his life that I think defined him when he was off before he became congressman, of course, how can I forget? He became defense secretary of President Elpidio Quirino, was a murder. I'm not going to dwell on the details. I let Senator Junmag, but I'm sorry, but this is historical naman, so I'm going to show something. This is a picture of that gruesome murder of a certain Moises Padilla. Senator Junmag, what happened there? You were already your father's son at that time. I mean, you were matured.
Yes, yes.
Ano yung nangyari? How do you remember
Uh,
the Moises Padilla case?
All right. This was after the 1951 elections.
Yeah.
When Ramon Magsaysay was Secretary of Defense. 1951. After the elections, si Moises Padilla, who was a candidate for mayor of the town of Magallaon, Negros Occidental, was picked up by the police of the governor. I will not mention names here anymore, of course, no? Dahil may mga familiar rin yan eh. And he with several of his followers were put in jail by the police for some trumped up charges. At doon sa jail, binugbog
Yeah.
really badly, no? Mukhang nagalit yung governor at the time. So Ramon Magsaysay was informed by the mother through some kind of relative na nangyayari yun. At napadala si Secretary Magsaysay ng mga sundalo. That time, it was and under Vice Chief of Staff Vargas,
Yeah.
nagpadala sa Negros. Sumunod naman ang Secretary of Defense at inabutan, patay na yun, pinakita mo yung black and white, no? Bullet-riddled body of Moises Padilla. So humingi ng forensics ang Secretary of Defense, wala. Ayaw mag-cooperate yung mga locals. So what he did was dinala sa Maynila yung bangkay ni Moises Padilla.
Wow.
At kinasuhan yung mga police, pati yung governor, pinilit niya. Ang mabigat doon, bata ng dating presidente, yung governor. So, nahirapan yung justice to be attained. No? Yan ang storya ng Moises Padilla na ginawa nilang movie noong 1950s. The Moises Padilla story.
Senator, I will add a little context then, ano?
Yes,
Just
yes.
remember that the governor of Negros at that time was part of the administration party.
Yes,
And
yes.
Ramon Magsaysay, the defense secretary, was part of the administration party.
Yes,
Ganon
yes.
ka-delicate yun eh.
Oh.
And the problem is, when Moises Padilla was picked up, he told his mother, anything happens to me, call Monching. Tawagin mo si Ramon Magsaysay. So, ganun yung tiwala, no? Remember na they're in the same party with the kalaban niya, pero si Monching ang sinasabi. Pag may nangyari sa akin, call Monching. Naiiyak, nakikilabutan ako. And that tells you how he was trusted bipartisanly by everyone. And Magsaysay went there on a private plane with Ninoy Aquino, who was at that time a Maccabi Manila Times reporter, and went to Magallaon, and everything was closed. No one wanted to come out to welcome them. They have to be escorted by the military because it was so dangerous in Magallaon, Negros at that time. So, but he went there. The mother hugged Monching. My son is dead. Monching said, I am Secretary Magsaysay. And then, hinag siya ng mother ni Moises Padilla, and my son is dead, my son is dead. And sabi, wala nga gustong magano. He have to, and totoo yun, Senator Juna, you were there already, na talagang dinala pala sa Manila yung body ni Moises Padilla.
Dinala, yeah.
Wow. At yun na nga. And there's this famous monument in Magallaon. I'm going to show it. Oo, ito. I would like to tell me about this, ano? Because in what happened was during the elections, kasi I remember that eventually si Monching will run against President Quirino kasi the Nationalista Party will invite him to become their president, the presidential candidate, no? So Liberal Party siya, Nationalista Party siya. And then parang he reminded them na this was the situation of the country by saying buhat-buhat ko hindi lang ang malamig na bangkay ni Moises Padilla, kundi ito ang malamig na bangkay ng ating inang bayan. So, that is the context. And there's this monument, I think near the airport, Sir Paco, ano? I forgot. Ano? But tell us the story of this monument.
Sa Magallaon ba yan? Magallaon?
Opo, ito po yung sa Magallaon. Yes.
Yung town of Magallaon, ang pangalan na ngayon eh, Moises Padilla.
Yes.
Afterwards, kasi he was martyred for democracy.
Oh,
Fight
yes.
for democracy.
Correct. And ano daw po, I have reports na nawawala na daw itong monumentong ito. Hindi ko namin nakikita to sa mga pictures eh.
Wala na, napakatagal na yan, over 70 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Marami mga statue yung late president. Pero after a while, siguro kailangan na ng space. Tinatabi na.
Well, baka rin ano, no? May political ano din, ano? Shade.
Oh.
Opo. And anyway, we will research sa saan ba napunta itong ano na ito. Sir Paco, may balita ba kayo kung saan napunta itong si ano?
Actually, I remember when during the campaign of 1995, 2001, and 2007, I would fly into Bacolod City because the airport was still in Bacolod City at the time. Wala pa sa Silay, no? Kasi I think Silay opened just a few years ago. I remember there was a statue of my lolo in front of just outside the airport. And then after a while, when I would go to Bacolod, parang wala na siya doon. So I don't know what happened to that statue in front of the old Bacolod City Airport. Parang nawala.
Magsaysay solo yun.
Yeah, Magsaysay solo.
Magsaysay solo. Oo.
Yeah.
Kaya napuntahan din ako yung bayan ng Ramon sa sa Bella. No?
Yeah.
But sabi nila hindi naman siya tungkol kay Ramon. But eventually, they love the idea that kapangalan ni Magsaysay. So, they placed a statue of him and I saw it. Oo. Kiana, so, I think it's good to, you can hear about, there are biographies about Magsaysay. You have, binigay sa akin ni Senator Jun mismo, ha? I'll show you something pala before I forget, ano? Finally, nagkita kami ni Senator Jun Mag noong, although nakita ko siya noon, he met me in his office after a few months after the presentation ceremonies to really award me the certificate. No, nandito pala yun. Mamaya pakita ko nga. The certificate in his office in PICC. PICC pa noon with my mother, Vilma Chua. Pagaling ka, mama, no? At sa aking mga kapatid, pagaling kayo. Ang ganda nito kasi, ito mama, naaalala mo ito Senator Jun Mag, Senator of the Republic, he spent about 15 to 20 minutes with us chatting. Oh? And Senator Jun, you gave me the 2 biographies of Ramon Magsaysay that day. Talagang chine-cherish ko yan. The one by Abueva.
Yes.
Jose Abueva, Pepe, the political scientist Kiana, no? And the one by, sino to? Si Carlos Quirino.
Carlos Quirino.
Of the Philippines. And also, mayroon din si Martinez, Ramon Martinez, if I'm not mistaken.
Manuel Martinez.
Manuel Martinez. If I'm not mistaken, the People's President, Magsaysay.
People's President.
So we know him as the People's President. But Kiana, meron siyang tanong sa atin.
Okay.
Yes. Hello. Good evening po, Senator Magsaysay. I just want to ask, how was former President Magsaysay as a father to you?
As a father?
Yes po.
Initially, very strict. Meaning, if I don't follow, belt. sinturon.
Ooh.
Pero after certain age, yung mother ko naman, chinelas. I mean, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Sinturon or chinelas. Pero after a while, nawala na. Siguro mga 9. Si Paco, dumating rin dyan. Walang sinturon. Kung lang. Ano bang ginagawa ko dito sa anak ko no bata? Parati siya nag-away ng ate niya yung Margarita. Sabi ko, dalawa lang kayo, nag-away pa kayo. Sabi ko, binubuli siya ng kanyang ate. Bata, at saka magaling mag-swimming. Ito naman, mabilis mag-swimming, pero malakas ang tubig. Ganun. So, fall guy nung kanyang ate. Ako, huwag na kayo mag-away. Ngayon, wala na. After 40 years, wala nang away. But going back to how was my father when he was raising me up to age of tingin ko up to 12, 13, closer to my mother. Siyempre politiko si Ramon Magsaysay. Governor for a few months, congressman, and so on. Parating wala. So mama's boy daw ako, mama's boy. Pero yung mother ko naman, nire-report sa father ko.
Mhm.
So we were residing in our old house in Singalong. Malapit sa Lasal yan eh.
Yes.
Lasal Top, Singalong, no? Estrada. Same scholastica yung mga sisters ko. Ako naman Lasal. I would walk. So, pero kung dumating ang father ko, congressman, mga 3:30, sinusundo ako sa Lasal with this jeep pa noon eh. After the war, no? 1946, 47. Happy na ako, hindi na ako maglalakad. So that's how we were. Na-spoiled. I was spoiled by my father.
Wow.
Siyempre, being the only son, like I spoiled my son, being my only son. No? Wala tayong magawa. We cannot get away from that. I think you're also one, only son, no?
We are 2. And then I have a sister as well. Pero panganay talaga, favorite eh. Panganay na lalaki.
Binubuli.
Binubuli. Binubuli din ako. Sister ko. Joke,
Di
biro lang.
kuya.
Ayan.
So, merong discipline, Kiana. There's a lot of discipline.
And I think kailangan din yan, no? Kaso ngayon kasi iba na ang pagdidisiplina.
Iba na.
Napalo din ako, matindi. Yung nanay ko, para din yung lola ko noon. Pero yun, nag-iiba din. Eventually, bumabait din. Ano? Pero mabait talaga yung nanay ko. Pero pag talagang matigas ang ulo namin, talagang matindi. Ano? And anyway, ito. Senator Jun, sabi nyo, Lasal pala kayo nag-aaral, ano?
Lasal, grade 1.
Ano mo Lasal?
Grade 1 to Engineering, College of Engineering. 15 years.
Lasalista.
Lasalista, green.
Lasaliano na ngayon ang tawag nila, no? Kaya na pag-ahalatado yung edad pag Lasalista yung tawag.
Lasalian. No, Lasalay.
Sir Paco, Lasaliano din kayo, Lasalista.
Yes. Grade school.
Imagine. Green Hills na kayo noon.
Green Hills, yeah.
Green Hills na. Sir John, tanong ko lang, no? Kasi kakamassacre pa lang nung mga brothers saka nung pumasok kayo sa Lasal eh. Nung bata kayo eh. Totoo ba 'yon na may mga duguan na parang natirang dugo doon sa chapel?
Sa chapel meron. Inabutan ko 'yon. Maraming massacre ng mga Christian brothers at saka yung mga Filipino families who were hiding from the Japanese. So mukhang tinamaan sila. Yung marble ng chapel, hindi natanggal yung mga blood stain.
Yeah.
Talagang I think there were 17 that were massacred there. Marami mga brothers. In fact, meron isang German brother. Kalanlak, alam mo mga Hapon, no?
Yeah.
At that time, Germany kasama ang Japan as allies,
Correct.
Axis powers. Tinamaan rin siya, patay.
Supposedly. Yeah. Talaga naman.
Yeah.
Oo. Senator Jun, ito naman punta natin yung kasi we're talking about the Magsaysay legacy one favorite photo of mine of Ramon Magsaysay, and I think everyone's favorite photo is this one. Di ba? Ito siya eh.
yeah.
You see his dynamism eh. He goes to
Oh.
the barrios, ito tumatalon siya sa creek, no?
Oh,
Sapa, no? Ay ano no, parang ano 'yan, parang creek, no? And
yeah.
ang legacy niya talaga yung is the approach na people to people, person to person, he opened Malacanang to personally listen to people. Para siyang si ano eh, you know, ang kilala kong ganyan in the international scene was Eva Peron. Si Eva, para na masama na kinumpara ko kay Eva Peron. Pero si Eva Peron talaga yung style niya eh. Pumipila yung mga tao sa office niya, sa Secretaria del ano no, yung labor no, Secretariat of Labor. And then she will say ito yung ito yung solusyon sa problem mo, dito ka i-refer ka sa tamang agency ganun. And that was what Ramon Magsaysay did, ne? Parang sa June ano siya no? Every week ba 'yon o twice a week they said? You were there, no?
Dati after his presidency, una-una binuksan niya ang Malacanang.
Mm.
First time that Malacanang was open for everybody to come in.
Yeah.
Tapos every day he would spend maybe the whole morning
Talaga?
daan-daan open. Pero after a while, he was criticized by the media. Sabi, President Magsaysay, you have to delegate that because you have so many more important things to do, like the economy, etc., etc. So naging mga twice a week na lang. Dahil lang gusto ni Ramon Magsaysay, field siya field inspection.
Mahilig siyang maggulat daw eh, ng mga surprise inspection daw eh.
Yung naalala ko yung sa Customs, Bureau of Customs. Dating siya 8:00 ng umaga. Wala pang tao. So, nung walang tao, sabi, suspend them for 1 day. No salary. Tapos, para stricto siya eh. Para siya. So, natatakot, sasabihin ng mga tao, uy, baka dumating siya Magsaysay, kaya 8:00 nandito na tayo.
Correct.
Para setting the example.
I have a question. Totoo po ba na very good. Totoo po ba, Senator June, na na yung tatay niyo daw ay nagpapanggap minsan, parang nagdi-disguise? May mga ganyan daw kwento eh.
Totoo yan. Meron siyang buntal hat. Parang farmer. Sasakay sa bus. Kasi kung siya alam mo, dumaan sa guerrilla days eh. Alam niya yung mga pasahero ng bus line nila. No? So, magpapanggap siya na isang pasahero. Tapos nakikinig siya sa mga pinag-uusapan ng mga tao. Malakas yung kanyang intelligence sa issue. Kung anong kanilang mga mahalaga sa kanila. Kabuhayan, tinatakot ng mga sundalo. Kung minsan ninanakaw yung mga tanim ng mga PC. Lahat inaabuso. Maraming maabuso noong araw. So yung pagdating niya ng Secretary of Defense, pinalitan niya yung mga general.
Wow.
Yung isang general na napakalakas kay Presidente Quirino, sinabi niya, Mr. President, Chief of Staff I will not mention the name, Chief of Staff. Pero siya ang parang nung panahon ng election na 1949, Laurel versus Quirino, mukhang ginamit ng Liberal Party yung army sa elections para manalo yung presidente yun. So, yan ang inuna niya, linisan ng armed forces. Number 1, ang hirap no kasi siyempre mga bata ng presidente yan eh. Tapos yung PC, Philippine Constabulary, yung PNP, INP ngayon. Yung PC, abusado rin yan. Pinalitan niya. Mabigat yun kasi maraming kalaban eh. Pero ang tigas ng ulo ng father ko. Dahil dumaan na rin siya sa dumaan na rin siya sa gera, no?
Yeah.
Second World War. He was a young man. He was only 1942. -7, mga 35 years old siya. Superintendent ng Tritran, no? Tritran.
Mm.
Oh, so alam niya yung mga galaw ng mga tauhan niya.
Wow, wow, wow.
Mm.
Now, ang tanong ko ngayon, Kiana, have a question, very very interesting question, but si Ramon Magsaysay kasi, just in brief, no, para meron tayo ng konting background, basic services president siya, no, yung sikat na sikat siya, yung mga poso. Tandaan natin na
Oh, yeah.
potable water was very hard at that time. Kumukuha sa batis yung mga tao, hindi natin alam kung malinis or what. So potable wells were created during his time, no? And then of course yung mga yung fight sa hook na sinimulan niya nung defense secretary siya, and then tinuloy niya nung pangulo siya na carrot and stick approach. 'Di ba? On
Yeah.
one hand, I give you the hand of peace. We're going to resettle you if you want, and nagkaroon ng mga resettlement projects sa Lanao and all of that. And then the other one is we're going to, strike a blow and, make you surrender. And Ninoy Aquino, who was a cub reporter at that time, very close to Magsaysay, was able to negotiate the surrender of Luis Tarok. Of course, he did not want to
Oh.
surrender, but Magsaysay needed to really think na, pababain mo yan, pero aarestuhin natin, hindi alam ni Ninoy. But that ended, of course, the Hook Rebellion at that time. And of course, yung sa diplomacy, nandyan yung pagkakaroon ng Third World. Remember that we were aligned so much with the Americans that
Yeah.
the Magsaysay actually, I don't know if he participated in the Bandung Conference, but he was able to participate in calling the Third World the non-aligned. Because either you're aligned with the United States, First World, you're aligned with the Russians, Second World, and the Third World is the non-aligned. Of course, eventually the Third World, the non-aligned, became equal to the poor nations dahil sila nga yung non-aligned, no? But so that's a lot of things. Ang dami ko pang but we will lose time, no? Ang daming legacy ni Magsaysay. Pero yung pinaka shining legacy talaga yung example eh. Yung example of leadership. Kiana, you want to ask us a very, very relevant question to the dear Senator.
Yes, Kiana.
Naku, nawala yata. Kiana, are you there? Naku,
Nakamute yata.
Kiana? Baka umulan na sa kanila, Senator. Oo.
Ayan, starting.
Anyway, if Kiana is not yet ready, I want Kiana to ask that question. I'm sorry if I'm going to ask you a very difficult question, sir, but please bring us to March 17, 1957. What was that day like?
That was a Sunday.
Yeah.
So March being finals na sa school year, no? Finals March.
How old
Towards,
were you at that
summer.
time?
18.
18.
Kung ako, a freshman engineering sa Lasal. So nung earlier, Saturday, boy, kanya, dumaan sa kwarto ko sa Malacanang. Come with me to Cebu. Maraming mga mestiza dyan. Ayan, maganda. Sabi ko, hindi pwede pa. Nagre-review kami, finals. Pwede bali, next time na. That was the last time I saw him. Maaga, Sabado, dating sa Cebu. Pagdating ng, kami naman, siyempre, my sisters, myself, we're all reviewing for the final exams. No? March is exams week, exams month. Pagdating nung Sunday morning, may lumapit doon sa mother ko. Sabi niya, Miss Magsaysay, one of the AD camps yata, yung junior AD camps, mukhang madidelay si Presidente. Sabi, that was March 17, Sunday. Siguro, sabi ng mother ko, baka later na, alam mo yan si Monching, kanya, nagsa-side trips parati yan eh. Siyempre, wala pa naman cellphone noon, no? So, pero kinabahan na yung ibang mga around. Pati yung sister ko, sabi, Kasi usually, pag Sunday, my father attends the mass sa Malacanang. Meron kaming maliit na chapel sa Malacanang eh. So family mass, he was sure to attend. And then breakfast, the whole family. Kami lang, walang bisita. That was like a routine for the family just to be together at least for mass and breakfast, at least Sundays. Kaya hindi dumating. Kaya na, nagkaroon ng sumakit na yung tiyan ng sister ko, si Teresita. Mother ko naman, nag-rosary na siya. Dumating yung mga pare. Kasi meron na mga ibang mga news, no? Magsaysay's plane is missing. That's the name of the plane is Mount Pinatubo.
Mount Pinatubo. Yeah.
Named after the mountain in Zambales, no? Yung pala na volcano. At that time, hindi naman alam na volcano Mount Pinatubo. But
At
that was...
parang doon siya naging guerrilla, if I'm not mistaken.
Tama. Doon siya nagtatago with the Aitas. Maraming Aitas doon. So takot naman yung mga Hapon papasok doon sa Mount Pinatubo. Nag-crash sa Mount Manunggal. Kaya nga ibang mga newspaper sabi, Mount Pinatubo meets Mount Manunggal. A tragedy, sabi.
Wow.
Oh.
You were 18.
I was 18.
That would have been terrible. But what did you feel? When
Parang,
you saw...
parang hindi ko parang hindi totoo eh. Parang
Mm-mm.
not real. Wala. Hindi man lang ako umiyak, no? Pero nakita ko talaga yung mother ko. Talagang yung tatlo. My two sisters, my mother. Na dumating yung kanyang Jesuit cousin, Father Rosauro.
Yeah.
Who stayed with her the whole day and they were just praying the rosary. That's what we would always do pag mayroong mga crises, no? All of us were saying the rosary.
Now, what did you feel when you saw this? I'm going to show you a picture. Ito po. When you saw people in Malacanang lining, how does it feel?
Well, talagang napakarami. Pero wala na, hindi na ako eh. Parang wala na focus eh. I was just with my mother and two sisters in our family. So yung napakaraming tao, naglilinya papunta Malacanang. So we were just there, parang it's like zombie. Siyempre, nawala kayo ng breadwinner. Hindi naman marunong sa negosyo yung mother ko. It's a plain housewife. So, wala na kami breadwinner. That's the first thing that happened to us. We have no more father who would have an income to take care of us. Yun ang number one na naisip namin.
I'm going to show people now. This is the mother of Senator June Magsaysay, si Ma'am Luz Banson Magsaysay, during the funeral. And there's one picture that really touched me. Ito po. I think this is the hand of your mother as you were also comforting her. This is your hands.
At saka yung sister ko. So ito, was my mother's son and sister.
Wow. So, talking about your father, Kiana has a very, very important question.
Yes po. So, one question says, what is one thing our current government officials can learn from the Magsaysay administration?
The leadership lessons from your father na personally nakita ninyo.
Okay. Ito we can say na alam mo talagang field person siya. He's not in the office and just rocking the chair. He goes to the field. So nung Secretary of Defense, maski na nung guerrilla siya, he started, hinahabol ng Hapon eh. So kami naman palipat-lipat sa Zambales, no? Of course, the younger brother of my father, si Jesus Magsaysay, tumutulong sa amin. But he was all over the place. Gabi lang darating. Minsan dumating siya, pagod na pagod. Kabayo, magkakabayo. Wala pa naman mga anong araw. Wala siyang saddle, bareback. Nako, natapyas yung kanyang natalupan yung kanyang butt. So I cannot forget dahil yung mother ko meron siyang parang it's a dark ointment na ang lakas ng amoy, very strong. Numotosin yata yun, naniligay doon sa wound. That struck me as unforgettable because it was so strong. As a medicine, no? It was an ointment and it's so mukhang gumaling naman after a week or so. So going to the field, that's the most important thing. Nakikinig yan, nakikinig. Gusto niya yung kausap niya yung mga former old friends niya doon sa Zambales. Sabi nila, upo ito sa Sirok de Acacia, sa ilalim ng acacia trees, doon sa plaza. Kasi plaza maraming mga acacia trees, no? Shaded yun eh. Upo lang siya doon and then they start coming. Then they talk about so many things. So kita, ganito, umaabuso yung sundalo dito. So may itikam siya. Sabi naman niya, bigay mong pangalan. Ganun, parang auditor. Parang field audit. Pero naging presidente siya, Kiana, ang una-una ginawa, nagkaroon siya ng office. Presidential Complaints and Action Commission, PCAC. Every president has that, pero he was the first one who started that. Action, complaint, action, complete. Ang nag-manage yan sila Frisco San Juan from Rizal, also a former guerrilla leader.
Si
PCAC.
Prisco. Na-meet ko pa yan bago namatay.
Sila Manny Manahan. Yan ang mga key persons si Magsaysay eh. Manny Manahan.
Yung mga hunters.
Mga actors.
Hunters ROTC guerrillas.
Yeah.
Naging tao niya yan.
Adiboso.
Terry.
Terry Adiboso. Yeah, hunters, guerrillas from Rizal, no? Buhay pa yung isang anak ni Terry Adiboso, Jerry. Matanda na rin, no? Jerry, I think he had a book on guerrillas printed and he gave me a copy.
Yes.
About the hunters guerrillas.
Senator June.
Action man. Kiana, action man siya. He does not, pareho anak ko. Kung minsan nagdedebate kami ni Paco eh. Sabi niya, Dad, you're always delegating things. Of course, I'm 30 years older than my son, no? Sabi niya, me, I like to go to the field. Kahit ako. Dumaan na rin ako dyan. Pero si Ramon Magsaysay would go to the field. In fact, when he was Secretary of Defense, so, number one, you cannot be promoted unless you serve in combat. If you are just staff, meaning staff sa office lang, personnel or ganito, telecoms, matagal ka bago ma-promote. Pero if you go to the battalion to fight the insurgents, malamang bibigyan ka ng battlefield promotion. He was very unorthodox kasi he tries to simplify the problem eh. Tatanong niya, anong kailangan ng tao? Land reform program. That's when you were saying earlier, nagkaroon ng EDCOR when he was Secretary of Defense. They open up in Lanao, in Palawan, EDCOR areas and gave 25 hectares per resettled family. These are usually former rebels, mga hawks, no? Or retired soldiers, sama-sama. Bibigyan sila ng karabao and implements and some money. But they're 25 hectares. So yung panahon niyang yun, that was started, I think, during Quezon's time, but he revived it very aggressively.
Yeah.
including the artesian well, yung sinasabi, yung mga water systems, no? Mga irrigation. So, yun ang gustong-gusto niya, EDCOR, Economic Development Corps, going to the areas. Kaya marami nagagalit ng mga Muslims ng araw. Marami mga tiga Luzon, mga tiga Visayas, resettled in Mindanao during his time.
Senator Jun, siguro isang lesson din kay kay President Magsaysay is there's a story and I want to confirm this to you. When your father died, you opened the safe of your
Yes.
father and there was only 2,000 pesos. 2,000
Yeah,
pesos.
yeah. Actually, ako ang bukas ng safe kasi kung wala mother ko. Ako ang pinapatiwala ng father. Sabi nga, boy, bigyan mo ng 500. So yan. Bibigay. Ganun siya eh. Pero nung namatay siya, the last paycheck of the president was 2,000 pesos. Nung nakita namin ng mga magkakapatid. Kasi ang salary of the president then was 5,000 pesos a month. Now, 1953, 57, 5,000. But at that time, 2 to 1.
Yeah.
2 pesos is $1 at that time. Now it's what, 50,
Yeah.
50.65. So malaki na yun. But nung nakita namin, this is the last check of my father before he died. Palabas na kami sa Malacanang. Siyempre, insecure. Lahat kami insecure.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Before I go to the next phase, which is, how your journey, a very bit kasi gusto rin natin makausap si Sir Paco, Sir Jun, Ian Christopher Alfonso, a researcher from the National Historical Commission of the Philippines and a very good historian, very good friend of mine, is asking this question, May kwento daw na, di ba kasi si Ramon Magsaysay, siya sa Tritran, siya yung parang mekaniko, no?
yeah.
And then, meron, may babae doon sa Tritran, si Luz Banson nga, anong trabaho niya doon?
Okay. So how they met, no?
Yeah.
The family ni my Banson side from Bataan, meron siyang maliit na transportation company.
Right.
Yung father ko naman, superintendent ng Tritran, one of the biggest at that time, from Zambales, owned by Teodoro Arianco, who was a commissioner to the United States during the Commonwealth. So, pinapadala nung Mr. Yanko yung father ko to check out the bus company of Banson dahil pinagbibili sa kanya eh. Ibig sabihin due diligence, di ba? Nakita yung mga Banson sisters. 4 yan, babae lahat. Nakita yung mother ko. I think she was 16 or 17. And my father was 24. 8 years sila, 8 years. So that's how it happened. Napusuan ng father ko si Luz Banson. At nagkaroon na silang nag-aaral sa Instituto de Mujeres in Santa Mesa. You've heard of that, Kiana? Instituto de Mujeres High School. So binibisita nung father ko, hindi pwede. Sabi naman niya, pinsan ako, napapadala dito ng pagkain. Pumapayag naman yung Instituto de Mujeres. Style. That's Banson. So this was taken up by Mr. Alfonso.
Sabi kasi,
3
years daw. Ang balita namin, 3 years daw na niligawan, hindi daw gusto. Hanggang nung 3rd year. Is that true?
Tama, kasi 16, 17, 18. Tama, 3 years. Pero nung bandang uli na, sabi niya, yes or no, otherwise hindi ako babalik. Natakot yata yung mother ko eh. Natakot. Pero yung lolo Pepe Panson, gusto yung father ko dahil nakita niya mechanic. Kasi siyempre, he used to own a smaller bus company and he appreciated that. Na
Wow.
marunong magtrabaho. Ibig sabihin, hindi. Sabi nga nung father ko, nagkakampanya, alam mo, nung binibisita ko si Luz, pagtabi ng aking Model T Ford, kakarag-karag. Katabi mga Cadillac at saka mga Piersaro, ang lalaki. Yung mga lumiligaw. Sa kanya, Model T Ford. Ayan na. Yun ang kanyang tawanan yung mga tao.
Para kasing inspiration na isa sa leadership trait ay at personality trait ay perseverance, no? Kasi,
Perseverance. Totoo yan.
alam mo yon, parang hindi ka man manalo ngayon, mananalo ka rin after Kiana Dizon kailangan mong makahanap ng isang tao na katulad ni Monching. Ano? May nahanap ka na ba?
Ngayon?
Hopefully
Kiana.
po, makakahanap.
Wala pa ba?
Baka naman na si Kiana bata pa, hindi pa humahanap.
Oo. Mag-aaral muna yan.
Mag-aaral muna.
Ito po
Studies first.
in God's grace. Ito na po ang nangyari, walang material na bagay masyado na iniwan ng inyong ama sa inyo. Kaya nagtulong-tulong pa ang inyong mga kaibigan at ang inyong mga kapamilya na magpatayo ng tahanan para sa inyo. And then, nag-alay ang Pamantasan, I suppose this is Lasal, ng scholarship para tumuloy sa pag-aaral kayo. I mean, imagine, anak ng Pangulo, Pero ito ganun yung personal integrity ng tao. Kasi parang hindi pa naman masyadong nag-business nun si Monching mismo. Talagang nag-focus na siya on public service. And then what happened was, hindi sinayang ni Senator June ang mga pagkakataon na binigay sa kanya. Nagtapos kayo ng mechanical engineering sa Lasal, and then hindi naglaon, nag-aaral kayo ng Harvard School of Business Administration sa Boston noong 1962 at nag-aaral din sa New York University ng Graduate School of Business Administration. But I want to show you something. I was told that someone called for you and your mother when you were in Washington, D.C. And that was the former President John F. Kennedy of the United States of America. Kiana, di ba? Parang, whoa, di ba? Parang far out. So,
John F. Kennedy.
how does it feel? I mean, at that time, like, John F. Kennedy was already, lionized in heroic proportions, the new generation, the new frontier, di ba? How was it meeting someone like John Fitzgerald Kennedy?
Very awesome. Talagang we felt so honored. Din lang kami sa Washington, D.C. Yung nasa other side ni JFK, si General Ralph Lovett.
Yes, yung kasama ni John F.
So, din lang kami doon. And alam mo, napakasimple. He did not talk much Siyempre, siguro we only had mga 10 minutes there. Pero siyempre, kuha ko yan. Afterwards, kinuha niya yung kanyang clip. Necktie. Di ba yung necktie may mga clip?
Yes.
Mr. Magsaysay, this for you. Siguro, style niya.
Yeah, wow.
Meron siya yung clip niya, PT-109. Di ba, he used to be a commander of the patrol torpedo boat 109 when he had a crash. That made him like a hero during the Second World War.
War hero siya because of that.
Nawala na yung clip ko
Sayang!
Kasi wala, barong na lang tayo noong araw
Grabe.
PT-109.
Sayang.
Di ba? But anyway, kung in-auction yan, baka milyon ang halaga niyan, paypayenta natin sa Leon Gallery. Hindi, nagbibiro lang po ako. But anyway, medyo ipa-fast forward natin kasi para medyo kasi gusto ko mag-zoom in dun sa isang important part ninyo, important legacy ninyo mismo. Kayo mismo may legacy, Senator June Mag kasi yeah, you were at the engineering training in Procter and Gamble, and then you were supervising engineer operation for Caltex.
Yeah.
And then by 1965, you ventured into public service, and you were the 27 at that time, one of the youngest congressman. But eventually, di ba, you went back to the private sector, and you went to in 1972, kasi ito yung tatanong ko muna kay Kiana. Kiana, I have a question.
Yes,
Did
sir.
you have cable television when
Growing up.
when you were young?
Yes
Yeah,
po, when
yeah.
I was young. We had cable TV po.
So kumusta
Cable
naman?
TV.
How was your experience? Kasi ngayon kasi, 'di ba, Netflix na lang, pinipindot sa
Oo.
YouTube, 'di ba? But how was it having cable TV?
Mhm. So,
Okay,
sir,
Sir Jun, si Kiana muna
Kiana,
because
yes.
we want
Okay,
to
sir.
ask her. Mm.
although I spent the majority of my time playing outside sa mga kaibigan ko po sa labas, I had the pleasure naman po of watching international shows, cartoons, that
Yun.
exposed me to the English language.
Yeah.
So that's where I first learned English through cable TV po. So,
Imagine.
Oh,
You know,
that's good to know.
alam mo, Senator Jun, yung mayaman lang ang may cable nung naman ng panahon namin, 1990s. Diba? Kasi ngayon, Sky Cable, no, Sky Cable, nagkaroon na ng ganyan. Kami, yung Tarlac Cable, tsaka High-Tech Cable nun, dalawang cable TV yan
High-tech,
dito sa
oo.
Tarlac. High-Tech, baka yun yung sa inyo, na aming affiliate ninyo. 1990s kami nagkaroon. I think 97 yata eh. Parang feeling mayaman kami pag may cable eh. But that introduced me to the world. No, CNN, what was happening during the time of Bill
Yeah.
Clinton, the
Oh.
impeachment of Bill Clinton with Monica Lewinsky, the war in yung mga strike sa Baghdad at that time in 1999. Napanood ko si David Letterman kahit probinsyano ako. Oo, I saw the world because of cable television. Now, Kiana, you have to know this, that the one in front of us today is actually the father of Philippine cable television. Because in 1972, he launched Color View Cable TV Incorporated. How did you do it? Like, paano nyo naisip yon na may cable TV?
Okay, kanyan, accident. Dahil after my first term, Zambales, so re-election 69, I didn't make it.
Mhm.
I lost to a cousin. So
To your
ito,
cousin, ha?
To a cousin, yeah. I lost when there's a cousin running against me. Nahahati ang boto. Pero
Si
okay na yun.
Magsaysay.
Okay lang yun sa akin. I mean, that's part of life, ano. Pero that's another story. So 1970, former congressman na, jobless. So my wife, then the mother of Paco, was able to talk to a good friend of their family. Nakapasok ako sa garment export manufacturing. Kinuha naman ako, mga Jewish Americans from Aleppo, Syria. Aleppo, that's historical in our religion, no? So nagkaroon ng need for a closed circuit TV. Dahil merong mga pilferage, bonded warehouse bonded manufacturing warehouse. We have to really address to the Bureau of Customs what materials we brought in, pre-cut, etc., and then re-exported. Nagkaroon ng pilferage. So sabi ng boss namin, si Mr. Nasser, look for a place so we can put up a closed circuit TV. So tinawagan ko yung some of our friends. And one of them is Billy Velhagen. At that time, he was the head of Philips of Holland. Pero silang cable TV, closed circuit TV using cables ng coaxial. Sabi ni Velhagen, there's a cheaper, kasi alam niya mga audio, siyempre, we want the cheapest, no? for the money from Japanese product. So tinawag namin ang kanilang consultant from Mapua, si Albert Santos. Sabi ni Albert Santos, Mr. Magsaysay kanya, may bagong negosyo ngayon. Ano yun? Sabi ko, for signal improvement. So nagkwento na siya. Ako naman nakikinig lamang. No? So bigyan mo ako ng mga information. Parang he was feeding me the potential of, they used to call it Community Antenna TV, CATV, which started in Pennsylvania.
Hindi pa cable TV noon, community.
Hindi pa, Community Antenna TV.
Antenna TV.
Signal improvement. Like Olonga po, may mga bundok. So walang makuhang signal, fuzzy. So maglagay ka ng antenna and then put cable all over the place. That's how I started. But the most important there is, number one, you have the right people. And I found the right people. Mga former ABS-CBN. 1972, nag-martial law. Nag-take over yung Marcos sa mga Lopezes. Nag-alisan na. Sinara na yung ABS-CBN. No? That was Channel 2.
Yeah.
Marami kaming kinuha. Mga ECs nila. Communications engineer. I think 4 or 5 of them. So they were my technical people. Very well versed. Second, meron ka kailangan na funder. Siyempre, kapital eh. Of course, I have to turn to my mother.
Siya ang Manson, di ba?
Alam mo yung mother ko, basta may kailangan, sabi niya. Ipagbili mo yung lotes, yung property sa Bataan. At least meron ko ng konti. No? That's how it was. But my mother, really, I cannot forget. Walang hindi sa akin. Sabi, spoiled ka ng mother mo. Pero somehow, successful dahil sa kanya. She would be my co-maker. Parang ako ang co-maker ni Paco ngayon sa kanya ice cream.
Yeah.
Paco. Alam mo yan, kung lang yan eh, torno-torno, hindi ba Kiana? Torno-torno lang from father, mother, down to the children.
Now, ito na dahil pwede ko nang ipasok dito yung isang Magsaysay legacy. So you started cable television in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Pero bago yan siguro, how is your company doing? Ito ba'y nag-iba na ng pangalan? What happened to the company?
Okay. From 72 to 94, we must have built over 30 systems all over the area, including Davao, Iligan, Pangasinan,
wow.
Bacolod. Pero marami kaming mga partners.
Yeah.
So kami usually, we have only 25%. But we take care of the technology, the construction, and the equipment.
So including high-tech?
High-tech, yeah. Sa Tarlac, sila Ilagan.
Yes.
Sila Maublardone, yeah. Si Hernando Ilagan, no?
Tandaan nyo
Ding Ilagan.
Remember this, there was a time na kung ano lang yung channel nun, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 13. There are only 6 channels that you can choose from.
Yes.
So cable TV, when you have it installed, baka hindi naintindihan na ng mga bata kung ano yung cable TV. Lumalawak na ngayon. Cartoon Network, mapapanood mo dyan. Yung sa favorite namin, yung Japan channel, Wow, no? Wow. Pag alam niyo yung Wow, matanda na kayo.
Gano'n na. Yeah.
I know why you like Wow. I know why you like Wow.
PG-13 tayo.
Okay.
So, yun.
Hernando Ilagan. Very
So what
nice
happened
family.
to that company na po, yung system ninyo? Is it still here?
Wala na. We sold it to another cable operator. Kasi we decided to, 94, we decided to consolidate in Southern Tagalog at saka Zambales, meaning Zambales, Batangas, and Quezon. Then sa Laguna, meron kami partner, minority lang kami, but they're doing very well. Royal Cable. Pero yung mga minority kami, like sa Davao, we were only 15%, 11 people. I think yung mga bata ng presidente, na yung partners namin sa Davao, we sold them. We sold Bacolod, we sold Naga. Dami, alam ni Paco yan, but about 30. So we felt na we were overstretched. At wala naman kaming malaking partner, kami-kami lang. That's why we were forced to be minority. But all of them, I can give you their names. They were so happy with our transparency. Napakahalaga yun, Kiana. Number one, we have good accounting. We have good engineering. We have good marketing. But the most important is we have local partners and local staff. Mga managers namin, mga tiga Batangas City, personnel, etc. Homegrown lahat sila. So malakas ang rooted to the locality.
Ayan.
It's a culture that we have developed.
This culture, hopefully,
Yes.
di ba? Hindi hopefully I think we have seen this kasi, Carmen's best, when I eat it, I'm transported somewhere else. Ganun siya kasarap. No? Purong-puro, napakasarap. And I have to ask Paco Magsaysay here, Sir Paco, who founded and is now, I think, the CEO of Carmen's Best. Kiana, baka may question ka kay Sir Paco, na anak ni Senator Junman.
Yes, actually, I have a question po, Sir Paco. So, I just want to know, ano po yung natutunan nyo kay Senator June when it comes to business? Ano po yung mga
Pagkakaalaman ngayon,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was not fortunate enough to meet my lolo kasi my lolo died in 1957 and my dad was 18 years old at the time. I was born in 1968, so hindi ko naabutan yung lolo ko. But, growing up with my dad, he would always talk to me about the virtues of honesty, integrity, and hard work. So, I mean, those are things that really stuck, with me growing up. And then we moved to the US for several years. But I just always had that close to me, the words that he told me regarding, those three virtues. And, up to now, I think I follow that naman. So it's really important that, we have our own moral compass and, we do the right thing. We do the right thing.
Sir Paco, paano nyo naisip, paano naman kayo napasok sa ice cream? Ayan, kasi Magsaysay, pwede naman sir pwede naman tumakbo kayo. Di ba? Dapat senador na kayo ngayon. Senator Paco Magsaysay. His Honorable Senator Paco Magsaysay. But why Carmen's Best? Why ice cream?
I think growing up, I had a very different experience or a different childhood compared to my dad. When my dad was in his teen years, he was in Malacanang. He was living in Malacanang, right? And me naman, I was in the US. I was growing up in the US. So we had a very different childhood, as they say. I had a different experience growing up. So hindi ako masyadong exposed to politics, or that type of that side of the family, So, it was normal for me to get into business, to work, and that was my path, So I had a very different journey from my father.
Yeah. Pero Sir Paco, when you established the first Ramon Magsaysay essay writing contest and the succeeding contest before it was taken over by the Magsaysay Award Foundation, ano yung office na pinuntahan ko sa sa Makati? What were you holding at the time?
It's the cable office. The one in
Salcedo.
Salcedo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I returned there just to buy ice cream. I think that was the first time I ate it, ano, and then dalawa yata yung what do you call that? That a pint or what? No, na
Yeah, fine.
ano na kinain ko noon, napakasarap
Yeah.
talaga. Na anyway, pero yun, Sir Paco, yun nga, bakit now, so you're doing business, pero I think you have a relationship with the Philippine Star. I'm very curious because this is personal for me. Why did you establish the essay writing contest, which eventually, you know, one winner of that essay writing contest, no? Nung tinake over na siya nung Magsaysay Foundation, no, naging 100,000 na yung kanyang prize, no? 100,000. Ay one of the Robredo daughters. I don't know why.
Aika,
I don't
Aika.
know. Aika, no?
Yeah,
Aika
Aika,
Robredo.
yeah.
Aika Robredo wrote about, wow, I love the cat. Aika
Her dad.
Robredo.
Her dad. Yeah.
Yun. He wrote about her dad, who was Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation in awardee 1999.
Yes.
So, and I was there. I met Robredo there that night.
Yeah.
And I cannot forget that. And by the way, tomorrow we are commemorating the 9th death anniversary of the late Secretary Jesse Robredo, no? Ramon Magsaysay Award. Sabi ko lang, ang daya niya kasi tatay niya yung sinulat niya. No? Pero wala na yun kay Sir Paco. No? Wala na yun kasi sumali din ako noon, natalo ako. No? But kasi 100,000 sayang. Pero nung in-establish niyo yun, why did you do it? Ano yung parang motivation nyo to create that essay writing contest?
I think even that time, I felt that not many people know much about what my lolo did, you know, what he stood for. And I wanted people to learn more about him. You know, that's why, if you recall, the first 2 or 3 years of the essay writing contest, it was about my lolo itself, right?
Yes.
It was not about the awardees. Because as you said, Aika wrote about her dad.
Right.
Because that was already about the awardees.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I realized was, there's not much information about Ramon Magsaysay on the internet.
At that time?
Because, I mean, parang there was very little information that you could get. Parang most of the information was, he was the first president who wore a barong. And it's very, you know, parang it's just so, you know, meaningless, di ba? Parang you don't get a lot of, you know, like this thing about the Moises Padilla and, you know, what he did about going around, that when my tita had her debut while they were in Malacanang, binawasan yung sweldo ng lolo ko. You know, these things that, you know, which shows you the character of the person. You don't see that in the internet. You know, so if you research Ramon Magsaysay now, napakanipis na makukuha mo sa internet. Very little information. So it's sad because nakakagulat lang how history can be sort of manipulated.
Diluted. And we all know that because of the fake, the disinformation and misinformation that's happening. No? Now, of course, Magsaysay Ramon is not, hindi naman siya talaga, you know, he is not perfect. No? So sabi nila, may kahinaan siya sa economics. Diba? May ganun siya, no? Hindi siya masyadong adept doon. Which is okay. I think every leader should be his own man. Kung ano yung kanyang galing, doon siya nagpo. And I think nag-focus talaga si Magsaysay doon. Bring the basic services to the people. Tapos, of course, we will not talk about this. Kasi ayoko naman sabihin na, bias ka, puro magaganda ang sinasabi mo kay Magsaysay. Yung, of course, yung ugnayan niya kay Lansdale and the CIA, which is, of course, in the books. But now, I want to ask you, by the way, I'm sorry, I have to show this to you because this is important for me. This is the essay that I wrote.
Okay.
And, Kiana, this is Makinilya. I don't know if you use this. This was old typewriter.
Typewriter.
Yeah. So you see, first president to be born in the 19th century. I have to erase it and put 20th century there. Ano? And you will see it here. No? It's very simple. The way I wrote it, I talked about how my grandmother talked to me about Magsaysay.
Yeah.
And the story is about, of course, I also read this in storybooks, no? How, you know, nung sila ay nasa Hook area, tumigil daw yung sasakyan ni Monching. And these are, I verified that they're real stories, ano? Tumigil yung, akala ko kasi parang, ano lang ako parang, anong tawag doon? Parang inano lang ako, ano?
Kwento
Inuto lang ako,
kutsero.
ano? Kwento kotsero, tama.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a dangerous place, but he said, what are you going to do? Bumaba daw siya ng kotse. No, I was a mechanic, di ba? That was my and then he fixed the car. He was at that time defense secretary, and yung nagbeating the red light yung kanyang driver na si Cosme. Cosme. And yung beating the red light, parang sabi nung nahuli sila, parang nakita, ay, number 1 plate, sabi nung police. Oh, sir, sorry. Paraanin ko na po kayo. Sige po. No, sabi ni Magsaysay. Charge my driver. Tomorrow, if you will not charge my driver, tomorrow you will be out of job. Imagine. So, walang tikitan mo kami. That's how the president was in leadership by example. And how he only served tuba during state dinners and how he promoted Filipinism. No? My God. We can talk about a lot of things like that, but I will go back to kasi 8:26 now, we're only up to 9 o'clock, I'm just reminding myself kasi sarap-sarap ng kwentuhan na ito. Sarap na ako. I hope, Kiana, you're also enjoying, and I hope you are all enjoying there. Pinapakumusta pala bago ko tayo magpatuloy. Pinapakumusta kayo ng curator ng Ramon Magsaysay Museum, si Noel Gaton. Hello daw sa inyong dalawa, Sir June, Sir Paco. Si Noel Gaton po ang timon ng ating museo ng NHCP, National Historical Commission of the Philippines, Museo ni Ramon Magsaysay, which used to be the house of Monching in Zambales, no? And then of course, nandiyan si Aleli Canoza, nagpadala siya ng picture ni Magsaysay kasama si Aleo Santos, ang kanyang lolo.
Nice.
Mamaya, nandito. Yeah. Mamaya makikita natin 'yan. Pinadala na ko, no. Si Ian Alfonso nagpapasalamat po sa sagot, no. Si Yanko pala, yung bus owner, siya po yung lolo ni Coke Bolipata, isang sikat na na musician. So yan, si Noel Gaton, pati si may kaibigan tayo, no, kasama natin dito. Ito, no, teka lang Hindi ko mabasa yung name niya Oo. Anyway, pero yun, parang close din siya sa mga ibang kapamilya ninyo, no? Lolo Monching ang tawag niya kay Magsaysay. Nag-baybayin kasi yung name mo at hindi ako marunong magbasa ng baybayin. And anyway, nagkaroon ako ng mental block. Sorry ate. Joy daw siya. Si Joy. Ano mo apelido nga? Kasi baka mali yung masabi ko. Si Jacqueline, si Joy. Ayan. Anyway, ito po, no. Puntahan natin yung record nyo kasi naging senador po kayo ng Republika ng Pilipinas. At you were senator hanggang 2007. So in 1992, no, nabigo kayo na mag-vice president. Kayo ay vice presidential candidate ni Miriam Defensor Santiago. Kiana, vice presidential candidate ni 1992. And then by 1995, and I know this because I was already alive at that time, grade 5, the Lakas Laban Coalition. Noong panahon na yon, yung mga magkaaway pwede pang magsama sa isang coalition. You know, Lakas is the party of Ramos, Lakas, NUCD, UMDP, Lakas, National Union of Christian Democrats, and the NUCD, UMDP, United Muslim Democrats of the Philippines. And then, yung laban ng Demokratikong Pilipino. At kayo ay naging candidate do 1995, and kayo ay pumangatlo. And of course, di ba, the Magsaysay legacy was there. Pero I think you were senator, of course, hanggang 2007. You also stood by your own name, no? Ramon Magsaysay Jr. And you had 73. Remember, may kilala akong senador, di ko lang sasabihin kung sino, walang naipasa kahit isang batas, no? Walang naipasa. File lang ng file, walang naipasa. But I'll tell you, hindi ko sasabihin kung sino kasi kakamatay lang pero ganito. It's very hard to have laws passed. And Magsaysay had 73 approved laws that either siya ang principal author or co-sponsor. 73. And this includes the Magna Carta for Small and Medium Enterprises, RA 8287 in 1997, Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act, RA 8435 1997, Electronic Commerce Act, RA 8792 in year 2000, the Anti-Money Laundering Law, and its subsequent amendment, RA 9160 in 2001. Dahil dito, nawala tayo sa mga nangungunang bansa na naglalabas ng malaking pera. Yun po yung money laundering, yung naglalaba ka ng kumukula ka ng pera. No? Kinukula mo papunta sa ibang bansa. Tulad ng ginawa ng diktador nung unang panahon. Nagkaroon ng AMLAC at nakatulong ito sa impeachment ng namayapang Chief Justice. No? AFP Base Pay Law, RA 9166 in the year 2002. The National Service Training Program Law, NSTP, RA 9163 in 2002. No? Na ito po, nagrally kami for this. Na ito ay mapatupad. I-abolish yung mandatory ROTC, palitan ng NSTP. Kayo pala ang isa sa mga nanguna dyan. Nagrally kami dyan. Kami yung kumalas doon sa Actually, hindi na ako pumasok. Takot akong kumalas doon sa ranks. Year 2001. Unang araw ko sa ROTC, I was college. No? Sa UP kasi 01 ng aking student number. And then the new AFP Table of Organization Law, RA 9188. At may mga panukalang batas din sa naisinulong, New Foreign Investments Law, no, Mechanical Engineering Law, Jewelry Manufacturing Act, and then the further strengthening of the Omnibus Investment Code and the further strengthening of the Social Security system. So, there's so many things. I wrote about it in my blog. No? Ano pa ang hinahanap-hanap mo? Narito lang siya. Kwentong Ramon Magsaysay Jr. Hanapin nyo lang po sa ating shoutchua.net. But I have a question. Tumatingkad po sa akin na your laws are about business. One, your laws also are about agriculture. Pero kayo rin yung unang nagsulong, sir, nung tinatawag natin na IT. IT, Information Technology. Sir, hindi pa uso yung IT nun. There's one commentator, Sir Paco, pakinggan mo to. There's one commentator in the radio, DZMM, alas 6 ng umaga, hindi ko sasabihin kung sino. Ano? Hanggang ngayon nandyan pa siya. Idol ko yun. Idol ko yun. Kaya ako gusto kong maging broadcaster because of him. Pero sa kanya ko narinig talaga, ano ba yung ginagawa ng ibang senador dyan? IT ng IT. Hindi naman yan makakain ng tao. But you know, you had the foresight. We did not mind IT. I'll show you something. No? Meron po ako actually na papakita sa inyo. Parang personal story ko na rin to. No? Nakakatuwa. This is my essay on you when I was in third year high school. Ayan po, St. Matthew, Michael Charleston Bichua, St. Matthew Christian Academy, third year. Yan po, oh. At doon pa lang, pumasok sa De La Salle College, naging kongresista, nanguna sa pagtatatag ng cable TV. This is funny, ano? And then ayun, kayo yung nagsusulong ng mga IT na yan. Ano, nung unang panahon. Now, the question is, yun, of course, meron na engineer kayo, pero ano ba, did you foresee all of this that's happening now na IT is life? Hindi na siya yung IT is food. You know, when I have internet here, I can have my classes and magkakaroon ako ng sweldo. Everyone now works from home. What do you feel about this, sir? Sir, unmute. Sir, unmute. Ask to unmute.
Okay.
Yeah, there.
Thank you, Xiao. Alam mo, I'm usually a listener. So you're talking and my son's talking, Kian. But that started when the late Senator Johnny Flavier.
Oh.
We're working together. Si Johnny Flavier.
Let's
very
do
popular guy. Oh, let's do it, no?
Let's do it.
Doctor of the Barrios. So Johnny Flavier, I would always be in his committee. Nakuha niya yung Committee on Science and Technology that oversees science and technology, like Philippine Science High School, DOST, Picard, marami yan. Sabi ko, Johnny, mahilig ako sa technology, siguro gawin mo akong vice chairman. So ginawa akong vice chairman kasi it's a small committee. Maliit ang budget ng science and technology like trade and industry. Ngayon, pag sa health naman, malaki yan. Malaki yung budget. Siya rin ang chairman. Sabi ko, Johnny, isama ako dyan kasi I'm very interested in health, which is part of science, no? Part of science. That's how it started. Kaya sa Senado, pag may kausap ka na gano'n, nagbibigayan kayo eh. Nagbibigayan. So it's a collegial, very collegial, 24 of us. You have to give in so that one next time they'll give in to you. It's a collegial. Politics is the art of the compromise. Sabi nga, hindi pwede
That's
100% eh. When you start with a law, after several months, the House version and the Senate version are put together with the bicameral conference committee, Kiana, no? And that will thresh out all the particulars to make it more harmonized. So, ano lalabas? Kung 100% yung pinasok pong bill, paglabas ng sa bicameral siguro mga 75-80% lang naalis na yung mga provocative provisions. So going back to the e-commerce law, sabi ni Flavier, I'm very busy doon sa aking health kasi malaking department ang health, no? Budget.
Yes.
Can you handle this? Sige kako. Pero kami, I was the one who sponsored the e-commerce law, which was quite complicated. And it was based on the law of Singapore and I think Taiwan. Those were the two countries that had the first e-commerce law, B2B, B2B, business to business, no? O B2C, business to consumer. So B2B. Number 3 ang Philippines e-commerce law. Dahil yung mga senador, sa kanila, it's nothing earth-shaking. Kasi maliit yung committee, science and technology. Second, they don't want to really understand it more than necessary.
Oh yeah. Complicated.
Well, complicated. At saka, it takes a lot of technology. So, magaling naman yung mga lawyers ko sa Senado. Sabi ni Tito Gingona, who became Vice President, Tito Gingona, June kanya, susupport na ako dyan kasi hindi ko maintindihan. Ipasa mo na. Ipasa na natin ako. O sige. So after mga 2 or 3 plenary, ibig sabihin nasa open session na. Plenary tawag dyan. Yung many of the senators are present. After 2 or 3, so total mga 6 hours or so, pinasa na. That's how it started. But e-commerce, up to now, I think is the most important law that I have sponsored on the floor. Dahil that is the basis of the online, like Amazon,
Right.
or Alibaba, or Lazada, etc. Alam na
Online
Kiana yan.
selling, yes.
Online, ginagawa na rin Paco yan, yung kanyang Carmen's Best. Online selling. That's
If
the
I may
basis of
add,
the e-commerce
Dad,
law.
this was
Sir
during the
Paco.
time of President Erap, if my memory serves me right. And there was that I love you virus. If you remember
I
that
love you virus. Oh.
Yeah. And it was because of that I love you virus that they really pushed for the e-commerce bill to be pushed, to be passed.
Yung
Because that
cybercrime
time.
ba, naabutan na ng papa mo yung cybercrime law?
What year was that?
Cybercrime, I forgot. Pero eventually, siguro yan yung mga naging batayang batas And then eventually, became the cybercrime.
May provision sa e-commerce law. Yung hacking
Yeah.
or phishing. No? But
phishing.
there are penalties,
Very
hacking.
good.
That is the basis of all these other new laws. No?
Okay. Salamat, sir. Sir June Mag, thank you for
Okay.
all your contributions. Hindi pa tayo tapos, sir. Hindi pa
Oh,
tayo tapos. But
si,
I am
si, Paco,
thanking
si,
you.
si Paco, mas magaling ito sa online.
Oo nga eh. But
Eh,
I'm
ako,
thanking you for your contribution. Papakita ko lang ang picture nyo. Ano? This is where you see
okay.
Teki. Ayan, Senator June, as a senator, nung panahon na siya ay nasa Senado.
Oh, that's very nice.
Mestizo
Siguro,
siya, mestizo. At kita nyo, no? Teki, marunong marunong.
mga 2002 siguro yan.
Yes. Tapos nung tatakbo pa kayo nung nung 20, ito papakita ko lang. 2013, hindi na kayong pinalad, pero ang inyong slogan nun, ito papakita ko lang sa inyo ito ito mga endorso sa kanya, no? Yan, no? Ding Dong Dantes. Kita nyo
Yes.
Ano lang, magkasing gwapo. Magkasing gwapo.
Ding Dong, very nice
oo.
supporter. Mabait na tao yan, mabait.
Ay, opo. Rin, kaibigan din natin yan. Napakabait din niya sa atin, ano? And sino pa? Ito, kilala ni Kiana. Ewan ko kung naabutan pa ni Kiana ito, no? Ito. Yan, no?
Richard Yap.
Si Sir Chip, di ba? Sir Chip, nakakatuwa.
Sir Chef.
Ang gusto nyo yata nun, kung kayo sana'y pinalad, magkasusulong kayo ng batas na internet sa bawat barangay. Di ba? Yan ang maganda sana noon, no?
Barangay
Imagine
sa internet sa lahat ng barangay.
Pag mahirap ka, tatabi ka lang sa barangay hall, tapos pwede ka na
pero
Facebook.
meron kaming barangay Wi-Fi spots ngayon. Pero
ngayon, tuloy-tuloy,
walang government support.
Tuloy-tuloy
pala namin na CSR, Kiana.
Wow.
Corporate
yan na
Social
CSR nyo.
Responsibility.
Wow.
So we have set up almost 200 all over the place. Usually sa mga bus terminals, public markets, sari-sari stores, public plaza. Libre.
Hindi mo kailangang manalo sa eleksyon para maglingkod sa bayang ito.
Kailangan. Yun lang, tone down. Sariling kayon, sariling sikap.
Okay. Before we ask questions from our audience, Kiana, may question ka para kay Sir Paco?
Yes po. Sir Paco, is it true that you wrote a book about your father, for your father? Could you tell us more about that book po?
Well, yes, I did. During the lockdown, I was so bored. I figured, hey, why don't I publish a book, So, and just earlier in our interview now, even my dad telling stories, there are stories and there are things that he's saying that I've never heard of before,
Wow.
So I wanted this to be all, as much as possible recorded, because I don't remember a lot of it the way he remembers it. So I commissioned the group to help me with a book. So my dad didn't know anything about it. And they interviewed him, posing as if they were doing an interview, but not for a book for him, And it was good that he was very open and he was talk. Siyempre hindi ako sumama doon, no, kasi parang nag-post yung guy as a writer for another publication, no. And we were able to what's a little bit nerve-wracking about it is you come up with a book and you give it to the person hoping that they like it because it's a finished product, So mabuti na lang nagustuhan ng dad ko yung book.
Yeah. Of course, it's not available yet, no? Publicly, it's privately published, no? And hopefully someone out there will want to republish it, no? Pero kasi it's a very good book. I have it, no? So sorry lang na lockdown sa Manila yung copy ko. Senator June, a book about your life. What did you feel about it? I mean,
The book,
what was your reaction?
I have my reservations. Dahil maraming mga events that were left out, I think on purpose. Pero I appreciate the book because otherwise, if I get to know about it, I will have to veto a lot of it. But alam naman ni Paco ako I don't want to be carrying my own chair, no.
Yeah,
Yung
yeah.
sariling paganoon. Ako, I'm more of a listener. I follow. Sabi nga, I listen a lot. To me, I have learned so much. And hindi ako nagtatanim, hindi ako sendero, Kiana. Hindi ako nagtatanim. Yung mga dating nilabanan ako, walang problema. May
Hindi,
cousin
hindi
na
kayo Farmville. Farmville ang
hindi.
tawag namin dyan, nagtatanim eh.
Nagtatanim. Kung ako, open system. To me, everybody has his own emotions. And I will not even bother an hour to try to solve it kung talaga yun ang feeling niya. Because after a while, it changes eh. New events, future alliances, and sa politics. Pero before I leave, Michael, Xiao, Kiana, Paco, I just want to show you this is the most indicative book of my life on my late father.
Oh, yes. Ramon Magsaysay, servant leader.
This is done by Pepe Abueva,
Yes.
Dr. Jose Veloso Abueva, former president of UP during the time of President Cory Aquino. I keep on coming back here, and it has so many information. When you said, tell me about Moses Padilla, hinanap ko na dito, nandito.
Galing, galing.
So maybe I will ask Kiana later on. Send me your address. I'll send you one. Because you're a history major.
Yes,
And
po.
I'm sure you will get a lot of background from this book of Pepe Abueva.
Yes po, for sure po. Thank you po, Senator.
Thank you, thank you.
Ayan, please sign it for her, ha? Salamat po.
Yes
Okay.
po.
Yes. Ayan, ha? Kiana, we have until 9 o'clock, but please ask our questions now from the audience. Yan, si Ted Castillo at yung iba pang mga nagtanong kanina. May itatanong ka rin kanina, di ba? Oo.
Yes po.
Nakuha mo yung pangalan nito?
Yes po, yes po.
Sige.
From Leonel Casimiro, tinatanong niya po if sa tingin niyo po ba, ano yung tatlong matututunan, 3 most valuable attitudes or traits na dapat i-embody ng future politicians, especially the younger generations, ngayong coming elections?
Yun. Tsaka ano ba yung hinahanap natin na magandang hanapin sa isang leader?
Yes po.
Okay. Is that for me or Paco?
For you.
Sa akin? Okay. The most important, Kiana, number 1, integrity. Integrity. What is integrity? What's on your mind? What you say? What's in your heart? And what you do, they're all in harmony. Kung ang tao ay may integridad, maganda ang paglilingkod sa bayan dahil alam niya ang kanyang focus, integrity. Ano pa, binanggit ni Paco some minutes back, honesty. Honesty, integrity, they go together. Number 3, dapat pa. You have to be a courageous person. Kasi maraming atake sa iyo eh.
Yeah.
Especially now, maraming mga politicians using trolls and fake news, etc. all over the world. It's not just here. And people just don't know anymore what to follow, what to believe. Kaya a person who has integrity, honesty, and the right heart for his people should be the one that we should support, no matter how others say. It's not so much winnability.
Yeah.
It's so much destiny. Pag sabi nga if it's the time for a change, it will happen. Look at Cory Aquino. A common housewife, widowed. Sabi niya, if there's nobody to run against the president, I will run against Cory Aquino. EDSA, 86.
Right. Oh.
Oh, I mean, she could not even imagine that she's going to run for president. But because there was a vacuum at that time, nobody wanted to fight then president. Takot eh. Siyempre, martial law, no? Martial law
Right.
yan.
Mm.
It's going to be the same issue for next year. Choose the most decent and the most courageous. And look at the people around the candidate.
Mm.
Yan ang importante. Sabi nga ng mother ko nung araw eh,
True.
you tell me who your friends are, I'll let you know what kind of a person you are. That is so important. Around, I don't
Yun.
mention names. I don't mention
Oo.
names.
Okay lang po.
Okay, thank you.
Sir Jun, wait lang ha. Oh,
Yeah.
maganayin pa tayo saglit lang. Mayroon lang akong papakita sa inyo. Ito po, ito yung actual na binigay sa akin ni Tito Jun noon. Ito po yung aking ko lang yan. Ito po yung aking certificate. At hinanting ko Sir Paco yung gumawa nito kasi nakalagay sa likod yung Angel Zamora and Sons. Doon na rin kami nagpapagawa ng plaque. Kasi ang tibay yung nakalagay sa likod Angel Zamora and Sons, no? Lumang PBA diyan nagpapagawa. Tsaka yung yung marami, yung national artist yata, yung diyan namin pinagawa And anyway, ito magpapakita lang ako no bago magtanong ulit si Kiana. This is the picture pinadala sa atin ni Aleli Canoza. Ayan, si Aleli Canoza po ay apo ni Alejo Santos. At senior niya po sa atin. Maganda kasi na si Alejo Santos po ang nagpalaya sa Bulacan noong World War II.
Yes.
Mukhang magkaibigan po sila ni President Ramon Magsaysay. So ayan si President and Mrs. Magsaysay on a boating trip with Governor and Mrs. Santos. Ayan.
First time I see
Nice.
this.
Wow, ipapadala ko sa inyo. And then also,
Please.
you have here, well, of course, this was sent to me by Paco, no? Noong kayo ay no? And then this is from Jacqueline, she's Joy in the family. She's part of the Magsaysay Rodriguez
Yes.
clan, no? So ito daw yung kanyang mga, ayan kayo ni Sir Paco, no? I think this is in Bataan, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
No, in
Oo.
BGC.
BGC. The cemetery
Yes.
there.
Tama.
Oo.
Yeah.
Ayan, no? So, Domingo Mauricio, Luis and Felix Magsaysay and Venancio Rodriguez. Mukhang part si Joy noong noong clan na ito na bahagi rin ho kayo. Sige, 2 more questions or 3 more questions before we go. Kiana?
Okay, so another question po from SJ Paul Gallardo. Sir June, having witnessed firsthand the administration of your father and having served under various administrations in your life, do you think former President Magsaysay's administration is one of the best? Do you consider his presidency?
Well, from the point of view of unifying the people, I think it should be one of the most effective because the presidency is a leadership.
Yeah.
If you do not know, the first thing to do is to unify the people. And even if you look at President Ramos, when he ran in 92 to 98, 92, there were 5 candidates, and he gained only 28%. The next was Miriam, I think 23%, and then the others. But President Ramos, within the 30 days that he knew he won, he went to visit each of his opponents. Each of his opponents visited them, and he got most of them to help him.
Wow.
So that's the most important. But there are some presidents who won instead of uniting, they're dividing.
Ay, oo nga.
Inaatake yung mga kalaban. I think that is not fair for the Filipino because politics is only during the campaign. Afterwards, the winner, we should unify with him.
Right.
But the winner has to show justice and fairness. Timbang.
Yeah.
But yung mga iba masyadong partisan eh.
Totoo. Toxic na, toxic.
Toxic. Toxic. Totoo yan. Naging
They
toxic na.
divided the nation too much, no?
Yes.
Dapat unifier. So ayan, Kiana, maghanap ka ng unifier. Oh.
Yeah,
Kahit sa
unifier.
pag-aasawa mo, wag kang maghanap ng toxic, no? Oo. Ayan, I know my mother is watching. Ayan, Vilma Briones Chua, Makasaysayang Gabi, Professor Chow. Na-meet mo na si Senator June. I love you, Mama. I love you so much. Sa mga kapatid ko, Michelle, Mark, tatay ko, Charles, and my sister-in-law, Faye, at ang aming baby Mace, anak ni Mark. No? Salamat po. JF Gascon. Oo, salamat po. No? Eupemio Agbayani. Ayan, weird na tanong. Pero kanila po ba ang Magsaysay na shipping o marine? Mukhang hindi. Sa mga pinsan. Yung Magsaysay. Oo. Hindi kanila yun. Si Noela Orozco, my girlfriend, siya po yung nagsabi, kasi researcher to, so ni-research niya. Ang cybercrime law ay 2012. So hindi na ho kayo naging bahagi nun. Pero I'm sure naging naging batayan yung inyong mga naging action noon. Charmaine Melchor, LPT, Best President for me, Ramon Magsaysay. Sabi rin yan ng lola ko. No? At yan, si Mildred Tanyalgo Escanio. No? He came from Castilla, Zambales, si Magsaysay daw. And all of you, lahat kayo mga teachers, I'm sorry, I cannot greet you all. Sobrang dami po. We had 1,200 comments and 184 shares, 1,000 likes, and we have now 263 active watchers. Ganun po karami yung nanood sa atin ngayon. And so, sige, shoot I think the last question. Si Ted Castillo ba ito? Ay, Paco yata ito.
Si Paco, sige.
Hindi, ako muna magtatanong. Ted Castillo, bakit di po kayo kumandidato dito sa Zambales, Sir Paco? No?
Okay yan.
Why not? Will you do it in the future, Sir Paco?
I doubt it. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that that is the life that was meant for me. I think I have a different path or a different journey. So tumutulong rin naman tayo. So okay na. Okay.
Salamat po.
Yeah.
Sige. Kiana, last question.
Okay, last question po, Senator June. In line with your answer a while ago, this is from Nino Joseph, Kaidik, Valenzuela. What sets President Magsaysay apart from the other presidents of the Philippines?
Sorry?
What sets President Magsaysay apart from
what
the
differentiates him?
Yes, po.
What differentiates him? Well, up to that time, he was the first president that did not come from the Commonwealth after the war. He was one of those many who got attracted to politics because of the New Republic, 1946, when the Americans gave us back our from Commonwealth to Republic. Marami sila. They were all new politicians, many of them. So what set him aside was unorthodox. Ramon Magsaysay was not just talking about nice things. He would do them. Action na. Man of action ang tawag kay Ramon Magsaysay. So when Mr. Manny Martinez, you're the one who put his own, the people's president. That was contracted by the National Library Xiao.
Oh, wow.
Manny Martinez. He was one of the youngest delegates of the 1986 convention. Manny Martinez.
Yeah.
Tinatanong, what should be the title? So the people's president. Shows to him the priorities common, the common people. They were, second, sabi na, the mechanic president. Yun, naglalaban yung dalawang yun. Kasi mekaniko eh. At saka ang action, kung siya eh, he wants to solve, problem solver eh. Hindi yung nagra-rocking chair lamang. He goes there to the combat zone and says, what I eat, the soldier has to eat. Ganun siya eh.
Yes.
Nakimani Martinez yun, di ba? Yung
Yeah,
mga slogan. Kung anong kinakain ng sundalo, yan ang kakanin ko, and vice versa. So that was his dictum. That's how we grew up. So what sets him aside? Unorthodox, hindi traditional, very complex. He was a product of what he went through, the Great Depression before the war, no? Panahon nila Roosevelt, nila Quezon. And then the war, of course, high risk. Hinahanap siya ng mga enemies. So, nabanat, kung basta if it doesn't kill you, it will make you stronger. I think you can add that to him. It made him stronger and more sure of his own capacity to serve the country in the best way he could.
Right.
Okay.
Salamat po. Now, before we go, not yet. Sorry
Baka
po,
magalit si Miss, baka magalit si
matutulog na kayo.
Mr. Vibal. Si Vibal.
Konti na
Baka
lang po.
magalit.
Oo. Before we go, we will send last messages for tonight for the people who are watching. But I would like to promote that tomorrow I'm going to have a lecture called Pamumunong Bagani. So I'm going to talk about the Bagani leadership. What characteristics of our Bagani in the pre-colonial ancestors were actually imbibed by the leadership of Ramon Magsaysay and Jesse Robredo. This is for Magsaysay Month and the death anniversary of Jesse Robredo tomorrow, August 18, 2021 at 2 p.m. at the Museo ni Jesse Robredo and the Museo ni Ramon Magsaysay, NHCP Museums. This is my lecture, and I hope that all of you can watch also this lecture, comparing the similarities between the two, which I think is the Pamumunong Bagani, which is basically a leadership that is with the people, not apart from the people, but with the people.
Bagani,
So, yeah,
that's
Bagani.
a new term. That's a new term.
That's how the warriors were called before. They were one with the people, and they were not heroes in the Greek sense that they are special, but they are heroes because they are one with the people.
Okay.
So I'll get the last statements for tonight's program. Kiana Dizon, thank you for joining me tonight. Anything that you want to promote or ask or our people, or last message?
Okay po. So my final message would have to be, I guess, our event today just goes to show that we can get a whole lot from history. The legacy of Ramon Magsaysay and his family, the Magsaysay family, is very much alive, and we can really feel it until today. I hope everything that we learned from this becomes our guiding force, especially the coming elections. I hope that we find in our presidential candidates and other officials who are planning to run what the people saw in President Magsaysay before. History kind of reminds us that the Philippines once had a leader for the people, by the people. He was the man of the masses, as what Senator June mentioned. He prioritized the common people, the marginalized, and he made sure to listen to the concerns of the common people. With this, I just want to say that I wish to see the Filipinos to use their collective efforts and voices to see another munching in the government, or many munchings for that matter, in the coming years. Also, I just want to say thank you po, Senator June, for all
Thank you
the things
very
that
much,
you've done for the Philippines po.
Kiana Dizon. I think you're going to be a public servant in the near future because you have
Thank you,
your focus straight on history.
Yes po.
History.
I'm planning actually po. In
You
God's
know.
will. God's will and plan.
Mabuhay.
All right.
Thank you po.
Michael, can you send the address of Kiana so I
Yes.
can send her a book?
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Oo.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Wag mo na kayo, may mag-message pa kayo, sir, ha? Wag mo na. Sorry. But anyway, Joy Irlanda Berbon Aliana, apo ni Calixto Magsaysay of San Marcelino. Naalala niya si Sir Paco, nagpa-ice cream test doon sa last family reunion. Pero, ayun, Sir Paco, siguro, as part of your, siguro, how do you define public service as a private individual, the Magsaysay way?
Well, I think so many of our relatives have gone into public service. But if I will speak on behalf of our family, for my lolo Monching, my dad, that it was really transparent way of serving the people without any hidden agenda. So, I mean, this is why he is not in politics now, and nor am I, because for us, it's not how we make a living, right? I mean, we make a living through business, we make a living through enterprise. But that's just how we are. And, no matter, we get offers here and there, people ask us to go into politics, but if we feel that it's not the right time, then we won't do it. I'd also like to ask maybe the younger people who are watching now or who are listening, if they can talk to their parents or their grandparents and ask about the time of my lolo, Ramon Magsaysay. Kasi nga, as I mentioned earlier, there's not much information you can find in the internet about Ramon Magsaysay anymore. So hopefully you can talk to people who are close to you, people that you trust, and ask them about this age of in our history that's called the gintong alaala. So and learn more about what happened back then, and that we had a leader like Ramon Magsaysay.
Wow. Salamat po. And Tito Kokchin, by the way, get well soon tuloy. Salamat po sa inyong pagtulong sa amin. Senator Paco tuloy. Ayan na, ano? Alam mo, kanina pa ako ninenervyos eh. Oo, ngayon tapos na tayo, ninenervyos pa rin ako. Pero Sir Paco, thank you for the impact that your essay writing contest gave to my life. And I'm glad that we are able to come here together to celebrate the legacy of Magsaysay. Senator Jun, finally, the Jun Mag, Senator Ramon Jun Magsaysay, the only son. Senator Jun, any message for our people, our teachers and students?
Next year is very critical.
Yeah.
Very critical. Don't be swayed by gold, guns. If they give you money, accept it. But remember that money came from the taxpayers' fund, from the treasury, corrupted. So take it because it came from the people, and vote with a good conscience. Vote for the right persons. Very important. It's a make or break for the Philippines. We have backslid this past few years, and we have to recover somewhat by having good leaders who are honest, who are courageous, and can focus on public service, not on filling up their own wallets. That's it.
Salamat, Senator Jun.
Thank you.
Salamat po.
Good night.
Good night. Oho. Mga kaibigan, yan po ang ating naging panayam sa mga kaanak ni Ramon Magsaysay. Bago ko kayo iwanan, may kwento lang akong isa pa. Si Cornelio Faigao, siya po'y uncle ni Manuel Martinez, ay nagkasakit at siya po'y taga Cebu. Siya po'y sumulat kay Ramon Magsaysay at sinabi niya kailangan niya po ng isang gamot na mabibili lamang sa Maynila na kailangan po niya. Siya po ay nanghina at hindi na makausap. Dumating si Ramon Magsaysay sa Cebu. Dala-dala po niya ang serum na ito. Kinagabihan, noong madaling araw, si Ramon Magsaysay ay namatay sa plane crash na iyon. Pero si Cornelio Faigao ay nabuhay dahil sa gamot na ibinigay ni Monching. Si Monching, hindi ho siya nagpakataas na tao. Ang pamumuno po niya, laging kasama niya ang bayan. At hindi niya pinag-away-away ang mga tao. Meron pa sanang mangyayari na kung nabuhay lamang siya, ang ilang bahagi ng kalabang partido, ang Partido Liberal, ay siya rin ang inonomina bilang Pangulo. Ganun ho katindi yung unifying power ni Ramon Magsaysay. Mga kaibigan, ang dami na hong nasaktang mga damdamin, ang dami na hong pagkakaibigan na nawasak dahil sa mapanghating politika na nangyayari sa bayan natin. Mga kaibigan, hindi pa ho ba tayo nagsasawa? Mga kaibigan, hindi pa ho ba tayo, ang dami na hong tumangis at yung leadership, hinahanap natin, hindi natin sinasabing pambansa lamang. May mga leader na magagaling tayong nakita, may mga leader na magagaling, pero may mga leader din na hinahanap natin kung nasaan. Hindi nila kasama ang bayan, lalo na sa panahon ng pangangailangan natin. Ang halalan po, sana ho hatulan na natin yung mga pinuno na yan. At sana ang ating gauge, ang ating yardstick, ang ating sukatan, ay isang pinuno na sana ay hindi tayo pag-aawayin sa panahon na kailangan nating magkaisa. Lalo na't lumalaban tayo sa matinding hamon na ito ng pandemya. Mga kaibigan, kailangan po natin ng isang katulad ni Monching. Hindi na ho siya mabubuhay. Kahit hanapin at tawagin natin si Monching, hindi na ho natin siya matatawag at hindi na ho siya babangon muli. Kailangan mabuhay si Monching sa ating lahat. Kailangan mabuhay si Monching sa ating mga leader. Kailangan mabuhay si Monching sa ating mga kabataan. Kailangan mabuhay si Monching sa ating lahat. Dahil kung hindi mabubuhay si Monching at magkakawatak-watak tayo, sama-sama tayo babagsak. Kapag nagsama-sama tayo, pagka pinakita natin ang espiritu ni Monching sa ating puso, na siyang pinagmamalaki natin sa buong Asya, sa buong mundo, patuloy na mabubuhay ang bansang Pilipinas para sa ating mga anak at ating mga apo. Mga kaibigan, Tupe, maraming salamat sa pagtulong mo sa amin. Maraming salamat, Vibal Group, sa pagkakataong ito. Marami pa ho tayong pagkukwentuhan sa mga susunod na mga Tuesdays. Ako po si Xiao Chua. Nagpapasalamat at sinamahan nyo kami ngayong makasaysayang gabi na ito. At sana po, lagi nating tandaan, ang kasaysayan ay kaysaya. Bye-bye.
Salamat.